So thanks a lot for buying my pay dirt. If you scanned on the QR code, it brought you to this video, and I'm going to show you how to pan for some gold. So let's go down to the panning station, and I'll show you what you need to do. Okay, in order to pan for gold at home, there's a couple items that are mandatory that you absolutely need, and then there's a few items that you don't really need, but would make the job a lot easier. So of course, first you're going to need something to pan into that'll hold your water. This is Crusty Rusty. Honestly, Crusty Rusty is a little bit too thin, and I don't like using them for that reason. I would actually prefer getting something more like Auto here from the auto parts store. It's just a oil drip pan. Then you're gonna need a gold pan. Links in the description for everything that I'm showing in this video, by the way, if I can find it. You're gonna need a gold pan. These are under 10 bucks. You're gonna absolutely need a snuffer bottle. This is to suck up your gold. You're gonna need something to put your gold in, whether it's a bottle or a little vial like this or whatever. Even a piece of paper folded up and taped, if that's all you have, that's fine. And you're also gonna need some sort of a surfactant to break the surface tension of the water. This is a very important step, otherwise you have a high chance of actually losing gold. So make sure you get some just dish soap, just one tiny drop of dish soap. I actually prefer jet dry because unlike dish soap, this leaves no suds. Okay, now for the non-mandatory items. I always like to wear a pair of gloves because your skin has natural oils on it, which can actually contaminate the water, making gold float away. The jet dry does help with that a lot, but just to be extra safe, I always wear gloves. A classifier is not mandatory, but you can get these things for $1 at the dollar store or Poundland. Notice the size of the mesh on these things. It's not super fine. It's just like a regular kitchen strainer. I don't know how else to explain it. These make the job a lot easier. And then once you get into the more difficult pay dirts, like the Expert and the Impossible bags, get yourself some different size classifiers to separate the pay dirt even more, making the job that much easier. And one of my favorite things are these squirt bottles. They're so underrated. I don't see anybody else using them, but they're so handy. It's crazy, and they're only like $2 on Amazon. When you get into the more difficult pay dirts, it's always a big help to remove the magnetic material. You can get one of these overpriced pickup tools that have a magnet inside, or you can just make your own like I did, and this thing works 10 times better than that other thing. It's just a silver dollar tube and a strong neodymium magnet with a nut driver from Ace Hardware or whatever. It works great to remove magnetic material. All right, so we're gonna start out by adding some water and just a drop of that jet dry or dish soap. Then we can take our bag of pay dirt and just open it up. They are heat sealed. We'll pour it out. Pretty important to actually spray out the pay dirt bag into a different pan because you don't want to wet up your dry stuff. You want to keep this separate, and you just want to spray this out because gold can actually get trapped down in those little corners down there on the bottom. But I think we got everything out of this one. And we're going to start by actually panning this to see if there was any gold in there. Yeah, there's no gold in there, so we're good. All right, next I always like to look through my pay dirt. Look at that, that's an amethyst right there. There's my version 8 guitar pick. That is actually a rough emerald. So now we're going to classify the material. Okay, I don't see any big pieces of gold in this side. Doesn't mean it's not there, it just means that we still have to pan this out. And then here in the minus kitchen strainer, I can actually see some gold right there, right there. There is a full gram of gold in this gold blast bag. Now this part of the video is more for the more difficult pay dirt, but you can actually remove your magnetic material, which will make the panning process easier. So let's go ahead and do that. I just do it 2 or 3 times. You can only do this when the material is dry. Never do it wet or you can actually grab gold. All right, we'll just take our magnetic material and put it in a separate pan. We would then pan the magnetic material just in case a little piece of gold came up with it. Most likely not though. All right, let's start panning it out. So if you're a beginner, I would suggest just doing like 1 spoonful at a time, maybe 2. So just dunk in your pan, completely submerge the dirt, completely. Now I'm gonna shake it around. This is called stratifying. You don't want the dirt to stay on the bottom. You want it to actually move, so don't be afraid. Move that thing around, get all that dirt stratified, and we're gonna tilt forward. So as I tilt forward, you can see now the material is here in the front of the pan. So I'm gonna dip it in, and you can see the light material just washing off. I'm not throwing it, I'm being very gentle. And you only wanna do that about 4 or 5 times. Then you wanna fill it with water again, re-stratify, tilt it forward, pour it off, and repeat the process until there's no more obviously light material coming off. Now we already removed the magnetic material from this, so there shouldn't be too much in here. But when you get into the more difficult pay dirt, at this point you'll already have a lot of black sand here, and you'll want to stop at that point because gold likes to stay with the black sand. And if you start panning off your black sand, you're actually going to start losing gold. But this stuff here is obviously just moving very easily, and I think we're far enough. All right, now that we have our little bit remaining, now we want to keep it in the pan. We don't want to pan anything else off, but we do want to stratify one more time to get that material up into that corner. You can also tap it like this. If you are a right-handed person, you're going to hold the pan with your thumb and index finger on this side. You're going to tilt forward, and you're going to tap with your hand up here. That process is going to move the gold. Here, I'll show you up close. We'll spread everything around. Now watch the gold as I tap. I'm just going to tap it with my middle finger here. Look at that. That's all it is, right there. Now we can collect our gold. So collecting the gold, you have your snuffer bottle. You squeeze it to let some air out. And then as you go through, I squeeze this so it sucks in, you know what I mean? And then we have all of our gold. So again, submerge, stratify, I can see little bubbles in here. This is very dry pay dirt. We want to make sure we pop all these little bubbles of dirt, clumps of dirt that are floating. There's even grass and stuff in here. So we're stratifying, we're tilting it forward, and we're going to pan off the light stuff. 2, 3, 4, 5. That's good enough. Start again. Stratify, tilt forward. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we'll continue that process again until we're almost at the end. These pans have little riffles in them, you can see right here. You will always want to have the riffles where your dirt is going off. So I'm holding it on the side with no riffles. Those riffles prevent the gold from leaving the pan. Because your gold is the heaviest thing in this pan. Your gold is going to be at the very bottom, along with your black sands and other heavy things like garnets and lead. All right, we're getting pretty close to the end here. I can see some black sand starting to show up. You can see it's starting to get dark here. It means we're getting close to the end. So we really don't want to go much further than that, okay? I can see some gold actually appearing down here. As you can see, the gold is at the very bottom. So now I have some water in the back half of the pan here, and my dirt is on this side. All I'm gonna do is I'm gonna lightly swirl and have the water do all the work for me here. The water's washing back the top layer of that pile of dirt at the top, and I'm keeping my eyes here to see if any gold is coming down with it. Usually if there is gold coming down, like right there, see that little bit of gold right there? I'll grab it with the snuffer bottle as I see it. And then once I know there's no gold back here, I'll just take my spray bottle and squirt it off like that, so I don't have to worry about it anymore. And then I'll re-stratify and repeat the process. Alright, as you can see, we're starting to get little pieces of gold coming down. So we're going to go ahead and, like I said, we'll grab those, or we can clean it out, re-stratify. So now there's a big pile of gold right here. I'm just going to grab it with the snuffer bottle. Just like that. And there we go. We've got all the gold out of there. And now all of our gold is in our snuffer bottle. Okay, I'm going to pan out the big stuff. This is a lot easier to pan than the small stuff. We'll grab our gemstones. We'll throw them in that other pan. Now you can sit and pick through this and look for more gemstones if you like. There's sometimes a lot of garnets and quartz crystals and emeralds, amethyst, all sorts of things. So we'll just pan this out. Stratify really well. Tilt it forward. And the big rocks will actually float off. The gold is heavier than those rocks. But you still want to be gentle. All right. All right. Now we'll just pan it back and see if we got any bigger gold. I didn't see any, so I don't know. Oh yeah, there's a couple pieces in there. There's 3 pieces of gold in there. 3 pickers. And even a flake in there too. So that's always nice to find a nice picker. We can grab those with the snuffer bottle too. And then we can go on to the next step. Alright, the next step is clean up. So now we can unscrew our snuffer bottle. Notice I haven't been wearing gloves, it's alright. Alright, now you want to spray out your snuffer bottle. See what I mean? This squirt bottle is so handy for so many different things. Also in the lid of the snuffer bottle. Gold likes to get trapped up in here all the time. So this would be considered your concentrates, right? So we're still not done. There's a lot of black sand mixed in with that and all sorts of stuff. So we want to make sure we separate that. So this is probably the most difficult part of the entire process, is separating the black sand from the gold itself. You can do it in smaller amounts. I'm just going to go ahead and do it this way. The gold is still heavier than the black sand. So we want to wash that black sand back very gently. Just take your time with it. Again, if you see gold coming down, grab it with your snuffer bottle. We're not done with our snuffer bottle just yet. Tapping it does help separate. So keep washing your black sands back. This is where you really get a feel for panning for gold. And then you can clear out the bottom. Okay, once you have most of the black sands out, you'll never get 100%. Okay, but you'll get pretty close. Then it's time to actually dry this stuff out. So we can weigh it up. So what I like to do is hold the pan up on an angle, and you'll get your little puddle of water and just soak it up with a paper towel or something. Get as much of that liquid water out of there as possible. Be sure not to grab your gold, because it'll stick to your paper towel. So now in order to dry the gold in your plastic pan, I use a heat gun. I wouldn't suggest using one of these because I've already melted pans by holding it in one spot too long, but a hair dryer should work pretty good. The only problem with a hair dryer is they blow a lot more air and it could blow your flour gold away. This is just the way I do it. A lot of people prefer to take a little pan and just cook it on your stove just to cook off the dirt, which is probably a better method, but this is the way that I do it. Okay, now that our pay dirt is completely dry, as you can see, we now have to get it into the vial. So how do we do that? So I'll just take a regular piece of printer paper, fold it in half, and we'll just pour our gold carefully onto it. At this point, I also like to take my magnet one more time. just to get any black sands that I may have missed before. And then over a pan, we can carefully pour this in. And as you can see here on the paper, there's still some black sand left over, which is not gold, so we don't count that. And there you go. So there you go, a very basic demonstration and tutorial on how to pan for gold. If you guys have any questions, please just ask in the comments and I'll get back to you. If you would like to buy any of this equipment, there are links below for you. And yeah, it shouldn't cost you more than maybe $25, $30 for everything you need to pan for gold, other than the pay dirt. All right, thanks for watching. If you're still here, you're one of the 42% that haven't left, so thanks so much. And also big thanks to all my Major Credit Patreon supporters and channel members scrolling right there. And also, if you enjoyed this video, you're really gonna like the other ones linked here, so definitely check those out, and I'll see you guys on the next video.